Here with starting left guard Joe Brunner. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Before I started, we were talking about Coach Blasek, and I'm curious. Can you just talk now that you've had almost a full season, kind of being around him? Can you just talk about what he's like as a guy, as a coach, and how it's different from other guys you've been around, other coaches?
Yeah, I think Coach Blas, first of all, is a great man, great husband. I've seen him around his family, great father. But for us, he's helped us tremendously to understand the game of football way more, not just as an offensive lineman view, but as a whole. You see the bigger picture in things. And he played in the Big Ten, so he knows, you got to be physical, and he's implemented that in us. So I've appreciated everything he's done. He's been tremendous.
Is there any point of emphasis that he had for you that, going back however far back, is there a point of emphasis that he had for you in terms of improvement to your game? Did he ever give you anything like that?
I think for me, it's just the mental aspect of being able to see bigger pictures, see the linebackers, because that shows you a lot. See the safeties. It really helps slow the game down. If you can see the bigger picture, you can see what's going to happen before it happens. So I think that's something that he's helped with me, and I've grown in that area.
This your first full season starting college. Do you worry anything about yourself this year?
Yeah, I think I've grown for sure. Not only as a player, but as a person in the locker room. You kind of build relationships with guys on the team that maybe you didn't before because you stepped up in a role. But I think physically I've grown. I've learned how to take care of my body. Full season, take a beating. I've grown as a football player too. You learn from things. In-game experience is a lot different than practice. So I think I've grown as well, for sure.
It's pretty rare that an offensive line is able to play. Five guys are able to play as much as you guys did. And obviously, Jack suffered. He had a little injury, moments. But can you talk about the value of being able to play with the same five guys over the course of a season?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. You build that sense of unity with your five guys. You got to be a tight-knit group. You got to know, you got to trust that person right next to you. You got to build that camaraderie to play next to that person to your left and to your right. And it makes the game so much easier when you have trust in those guys. And to have all five of us play the whole year, it's definitely helped a lot.
I'm curious about this most recent game. There's a lot of talk about, the lack of a true offensive coordinator and just how the whole play calling operation would go. How do you feel it went?
Yeah, I think, with what happened, it's a business. You got to be able to move on, but I got full confidence in the operation that's going on right now. I'm excited to get after Minnesota with it. I know the guys and the offensive room are excited. We have full trust in the coaches and what they're doing, their game plan. But it's exciting. It's a change, which happens a lot, unfortunately. But it can be a good thing as well if you look at it that way. So.
The new kind of play calling operation that you guys did against Nebraska, can you go a little bit in depth about how it's different from what you guys were doing before?
Yeah, I think it's not too much different. Obviously we're in a huddle. You saw that. But I think just the way that we're getting to Braden the calls, through the helmet and stuff like that. But then it's kind of all the coaches on the offensive side putting their heads together and making calls.
And I'm curious. I want to talk about the actual rivalry a little bit. You're from Wisconsin. You grew up in Wisconsin. You grew up a Badger fan.
Yeah.
So when can you remember learning about the Axe game, or is it something that you've always known?
I don't remember learning about it. I've always known.
Yeah.
The oldest rivalry in college football. Historic. I'm pumped up.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. I'm excited. When you look at this game, records and all that stuff goes out the window. You could be 10-0, you could be 2-8. It doesn't matter. We know they're going to come and play their best ball, and we're going to play our best ball. So.
Has practice been more intense? Is the temperature in the locker room turned up a little bit for a rivalry game?
For sure. Guys are ready to get after them. It's going to be one of the most physical games we've played all year. We know that. And it starts up front with us. I think you got to dominate the line of scrimmage if you want to win the game.
Is it something that's kind of verbalized by the leaders on the team? Has anybody spoken and kind of talked, in depth about the importance of this rivalry?
I think everyone knows. Guys have spoken up for sure, but everyone knows how important this is to not only us, but the state of Wisconsin as well. We want to keep that edge here.
Curious, what players have spoken up?
I think Jack Nelson has for sure in the offensive line room. Guys like Hunter Wohler, you can feel their presence and how they feel about this game. Just the older guys who have been in this program for years, you know how badly they want it.
Is now, the bull streak is now 22 years. It's probably goes back to, I don't know if you were born, you're probably born a little after.
Yeah.
It's before I was born. Is that something that's important to the locker room as well?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think, you want to play longer with the guys, with this specific group, because it changes every year. You want to play with these guys another game. It definitely is important, for sure. And it raises the stakes a little bit of this game because this is such an important game. But yeah, I think it's, it's definitely in your mind a little bit like, we got to get this one. This is a must win for sure.
If you guys went on Friday, will you celebrate?
Yeah, for sure.
What are you going to need to celebrate?
I don't know. We'll figure it out when that time comes.